Hey guys, my name is Justine Fulama and I'm so excited that you're here. And yes, as you can tell from the title of this video, I am pregnant. I know a lot has happened since the last time I uploaded a video on YouTube, but girl, I was going through it, okay? I was going through it. As of today, I am 16 weeks pregnant. Tomorrow I'm in my 17th week. So I am almost halfway there. And the reason why I wasn't able to show up on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere is because I was suffering. The first trimester was a lot. So I figured what better way to announce my pregnancy than actually recap my first trimester, because I feel like I am still kind of, traumatized. And because I just spread the news on TikTok and Instagram, this week I felt like this is the perfect time to come on YouTube and also share the news with you guys. So, like I said just now, I'm in my 17th week of pregnancy, so I'm officially in my second trimester, and my first trimester was not easy. But let's roll it back to how did I find out? So, I found out that I'm pregnant pretty late, I want to say, into my pregnancy. I found out in week 6, but towards the end of week 6, so almost week 7. And you might wonder, like, how, girl? Doesn't your period come every 4 weeks? Good point. It actually should have. It normally does. But here is what happened. When I was traveling to Texas to visit my husband, exactly, yes, you heard it right, visit my husband, because the two of us still live apart. I am in Germany, he's over there in the US in Texas, and that is a story for another day. So if you want to know more about our visa process and how that's going, let me know in the comments down below, and I will definitely film a video about that. Oh, and by the way, if you see this cup, mind your business, because this is my spit cup. This is my most hated second trimester symptom, but I will tell you more about it either later in this video or in the next video about the second trimester recap. But so we're still long distance. So I was in the US for 3 months at the end of 2024 to celebrate, just his birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. We love spending time together over those months. So I was there. And as I was traveling over there, I figured, hey, now that we're married on paper, in the church, traditionally African, let's get started on trying to have a baby. Because girl, I'm not young anymore, okay? I am 30, well, I was 35 at the time when we started trying, and I'm 36 now. He's 42, so we figured now or never. And yeah, I started taking my prenatals in October, or I want to say even end of September, mid-September, end of September, which meant that for 3 months I was like, let's track my cycle, make sure that, we have fun during ovulation week and all that jazz. October, I found out that I'm not pregnant. I did a test, it was negative, fine. November, same thing, found out that I was not pregnant, did a test, okay. I will insert a clip later on so you can see my reactions every time. And then in December, quite frankly, because my prenatal was coming to an end, and it kind of did the same thing as when you get off your birth control, you have this like fake period, right? Like fake period, which basically means it's like you have like the excess hormones that these pills create basically lead to bleeding, but it's not really your period. So I actually had that at the end of November, and then less than 10 days later, I had again a period. So at that point I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I had my period a week ago or this is my actual period. All I know is that I've been bleeding. I do not know how to track this. I probably cannot really say when I'm ovulating in December, so all bets are off. I'm leaving soon. Let's just table this for next year. And as we were tabling it for next year in December, we went on vacation, we celebrated the holidays, we were having a good time, not thinking about pregnancy or anything. And it was my last month in Texas, so I left. At the end of December, I left. I was like, bye, I'm out. See you in a few months. And cool, right? We're back to our long distance relationship. January comes around and I am not getting my period. But I'm in my head, I'm like, that makes sense, you know, I'm not getting my period because my cycle is still completely off from those prenatals that I took. So I didn't give it too much attention because I just figured it's gonna get here whenever it gets here. I'm someone who has a very steady cycle, so I knew at one point I'm gonna have my period. Not thinking about it at all. Then I watched a YouTube video. I don't know if you guys know Sidel Curry, Steph Curry's sister. She made a video saying how she found out she was pregnant with her third child after being late for, I think, 10 days or something. And so as I was listening to her, I was like, wait a minute, I am 11 days late at this point. Maybe I should be concerned or should check at least. And it just so happened that my sister gave me a pregnancy test a week before because she's done having kids. Girl, she has 4, so she's done. She was like, I still have this test. I'm gonna give it to you because, you know, by God's grace, it's gonna be your turn soon. So I had this test and I go into the bathroom, like, let me just pee on that stick. Whew, Jesus. Tell me why I pee on that stick. And normally you wait like 3 minutes usually to find out the result. I peed on that stick and immediately both lines flash red. They literally come up so quick. I didn't even have time to put the stick down. I didn't have time to like cover up the stick. I was like, what? And I could not believe it. It's insane. I cursed a lot, so you will see that in the video. I cursed a lot. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? It was weird. And then I rushed to the pharmacy to get a second test because I was like, okay, I want to have a digital test because I want to see how far along I am and if this is true. Well, the second test is a digital test, and same thing, I pee in a stick, it comes up really, really quick. It loads a little bit slower because it's digital, but immediately says 3+. And whenever you see that 3+ on a digital test, it means that it's most likely 5 weeks and up. And I was like, 5 weeks? And that was a Wednesday. I remember it so well. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I am like shocked, confused, excited, scared, but I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but let me call my doctor. And lo and behold, of course, that clinic is like, oh yay, that is great, but we do not have any appointments until next week. So I'm like, dang, gotta wait a week to find out if this is true, to find out how far along I am, all this jazz. But it was like, I still need to tell Kenny, right? Like I need to tell my husband. And I didn't want to tell anyone else before because, you know, we're long distance, this is a special moment. So of course I wanted to tell him first, but I also didn't want to tell him just, you know, like spontaneously and without any like magic, basically. So it's like, okay, you need to come up with an idea of what you can do so that he has a special experience over there. And because this guy is the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan in Texas, you feel, I was like, okay, let me get a Dallas Cowboys onesie, send it to the house, and then have him open it. And that's what I did. I will insert the video as well.
Till I get up, time is barely on our
So
side.
it was the sweetest moment, but basically it took a few days for the onesie to arrive, which was, I think, a Saturday. By then, you can imagine, from Wednesday to Saturday, I'm the only person on the whole planet Earth that knows that I'm pregnant. So I'm sitting in this house with my parents, my brother, and, you know, maybe other people, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm pregnant. And nobody else knows. I'm talking to Kenny on the phone, you know, we're having our FaceTime chats and everything every day. And I'm like, no, nothing new. And it's just so surreal in that moment. But it was great because I also realized that it was nice to have that moment to myself because at the end of the day, as a woman, your life instantly changes and your body too. But we'll get to this later. And I just felt like it gave me a couple of days to just reflect, bond with whatever was going on down there, and dream and visualize and just really get calm for a few days. So it was amazing. But when he found out, obviously, it was even better because now we had you know, this thing together where we were just like, oh my God, can you believe it? Can you believe it? And honestly, as you can see on the video, he was too stunned to speak. He was too stunned to speak for like minutes. He was laughing and giddy and just excited, but also I think I could see like also that he was scared, like fear in his eyes. And yeah, it was really cool. And that was on Saturday. And then the next day, honestly, I told my parents. And I just literally sat them down in the living room. I was like, that's the news. And my dad is African, so he was like, how do you know? Did you go to the doctors? Because how would you know? And I was like, I did a test. And he did not know that pregnancy tests can be done at home. I don't know, girls, if you're African like me and your parents are older and traditional and all that jazz, I guess men back in the day really did not know what was going on when a woman became pregnant, was pregnant, or went into labor, because he did not know. And we all laughed. My mom laughed, I laughed. I was like, how do you not know their pregnancy test? You have 5 children. But they were obviously excited, so that was great. And then, you know, I told other people as time went by. I first told my siblings, all of them, and then I started telling friends. And yeah, it was just really, really cool. But that was week 7. So basically week 6, I found out. Week 7 was the week where I realized that I was really pregnant, because now I went to the doctors, right? Went to doctors, we had our first ultrasound. It was crazy because obviously it's not like a baby yet, right? It's like 2 little dots. And he explained everything. He told me what he thinks my due date is gonna be, and the date of reception or whatever. And it was great because it just gave me a little bit more understanding. I feel like when you hear from other people about pregnancy, they don't go into detail how it's calculated, what that means and stuff. So going to the doctors, finding out about that, and then also downloading the app. I used the Flow app, and I upgraded to premium when I found out I was pregnant, and that's been a game changer. Love, love, love it, because it really, I don't know, it's like a little mini glossary on your phone that updates you on everything that's going on, and that's really cute. It's become like my favorite pastime on Saturday mornings to, like, you know, get into the app and find out how big is the baby, what is it doing this week, and how am I supposed to feel, what is going to happen to my body. So that was that, week 7, and that's when I want to say officially my pregnancy journey started. Okay, now let's get into symptoms. I feel like I'm being triggered just thinking about the first trimester, because I cannot tell you how, like, in how much agony I was. I was in so much agony. I was so mad about every pregnant or mother, like pregnant person or mother in my life that had never told me about how much I would suffer in my first trimester. And of course, I get it. Every pregnancy is different. And side note, if you're someone who's not pregnant yet, but who desires to be pregnant one day, and you know, you don't want to take in any like negative energy about it, then this is the part you want to skip, because I'm going to speak from the heart. I'm going to tell you about my experience. And I must say, I did not like it. So I don't want to put anyone off, because, you know, I have a sister who, her pregnancies are amazing. She has no symptoms ever. She loves it. She glows up, all the good stuff, but it wasn't my experience. And I low-key am mad about it, but it's fine because everybody has their own journey. So here are my symptoms. And I kind of wrote them down as they happened, but honestly, at this point, I can't really tell you which week what symptom was the most prevalent. But here's how I started. So first, I want to say it was hunger, because even before I found out I was pregnant, I definitely want to say that I felt more hungry for more times of the day, right? I'm normally someone who's pretty much like a 3 times a day eater, and I don't overeat, I don't eat like 2 huge meals a day. It's pretty much like, you know, 1 decent sized lunch, you know, like something small for breakfast, and then probably something more, I don't know, like appetizer, snack, like for dinner. But I did already in week 6 unknowingly have more food. And later on, it obviously made more sense. So the first was hunger. Then the moment I found out, right, and I told, let's say, my sister, she was like, so do you have any symptoms? I was like, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I do have one, because I had this weird taste in my mouth. And that is something you will probably hear me complain about the whole pregnancy long. Because as I'm sitting here, I have that weird taste in my mouth. And on TikTok, like, guys, by the way, if you're pregnant and you just need a community of other women who are pregnant and going through the same thing as you, TikTok is the place to be. I love TikTok. It's literally been my lifesaver, especially in the first trimester when people didn't know yet. Because yeah, they just, you know, they get you. And a lot of people on TikTok already open up about the pregnancy early on, so you can follow along and learn more about each symptom as their week progress. And that weird taste in your mouth, turns out it's a taste like metallic, like it tastes metallic. And it's really weird because obviously, why would I know what metal tastes like? But the closest I can explain it, or the closest I can like describe it is, you know, like when you have a very rusty fork or spoon and you use it to eat something and you taste that spoon and you're like, oh, this is rusty, and you exchange it. That's what it tastes like. As if you have like rusty metal or something in your mouth. And it's nasty, but the problem is that taste in your mouth also triggers nausea. At least it did for me. And that was the first 2 weeks. This week 7, week 8, the taste in my mouth, and then just slowly realizing, oh, I think I'm feeling nauseous. Oh, I think I'm feeling nauseous. By the end of week 8, week 9, week 10, I wanted to die. Like, sorry, because this is something else that comes up a lot. Like, you're constantly burping. At the end, or let's say the hardest weeks of my life were week 9, 10, and I want to say 11, because the nausea was out of this world. Of course, it's called morning sickness, but by now we know that just because it's called morning sickness doesn't mean it stays in the morning. It comes with you all day. But funny enough, with me, it actually would always start in the afternoon. It would start around 5 p.m. and then go into the evening at night, so much so that I was literally like miserable, crying in bed, throwing up constantly. And the nausea without throwing up is almost worse than throwing up, because once you throw up, you kind of feel relief for a little bit, but the constant just feeling like you're on a boat or something, I just can't describe it. But I was so miserable. I was so emotional about it, because I am not someone who has a lot of physical ailments or pain, so I just wasn't used to it, to be honest, and I just didn't know how to handle it. One thing I will say right now is that even though nausea was pretty bad, even though my first trimester, I personally think, was pretty bad, honestly, I do know people who have had it worse, so I always kept that, you know, in the back of my mind. But I also really felt grateful to God, because I was like, can you imagine there are people on this earth who live with constant physical pain? You know, people who have autoimmune diseases or something. So it just made me realize how healthy I've been throughout my life. For me to experience this for a short period of time, knowing very well that at the end of this, it's going to be like the best gift in the world. And yet, you know, feeling like, whoa, I do not want to experience this again. So as of now, well, in the first trimester, I was sure, I was like, ooh, I'm one and done. I'm not going through this again. But yeah, we'll see. Nausea pretty much stayed with me until the end of the first trimester. I want to say by the end of week 13, at the end of week 13, I experienced the nausea really slowing down. But I don't know, I still was kind of upset. And I also realized that my prenatals were part of the problem. Even though I would take them with food, they still were part of the reason why I was so nauseous, because in my second trimester, I realized when I don't take the prenatals, I feel so much better. And until now, I have not found a different brand of prenatals yet that is better. So I just stopped taking them altogether. My doctor said it's fine as long as I make sure that I have a really good diet. And then obviously fatigue. Fatigue is Same thing. So exhausting. I was feeling fatigued, and I still am, from the hours of pretty much 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. I know that within that window of time, I have to take a 2-hour nap. I plan my day around that now. I know for a fact I will have to sleep, so if I do something in the morning, I know I need to be back home by 1 p.m. If I plan something in the evening, I never agree to meet before 5 p.m. because I just know that there's no way. If I don't get my 2 hours of sleep, my whole body will be in shambles for the rest of the day. So I made that a priority. With that fatigue came unproductiveness. Is that a word? I don't know. Came like basically no productivity, which is really bad if you're an entrepreneur like me. If you're someone who has to work in order to make money, like basically what you put in, you get out, then not being able to work or not being able to focus is not good. And that also really put a bummer on my experience because I just felt so sad. I felt like I had a mini identity crisis. And yes, that might sound very dramatic, but I really did. And I think it was heightened because of all the emotions I was experiencing. And I'm really lucky. Obviously, I have a lot of women in my life, and my older sister has had 4 kids, and she has had her own share of pregnancies and hardships that she could really help me shift my perspective on it, because I just didn't know how to feel about the fact that I was already not in control of my body, my time, my life. So she really helped me understand that you are being productive, but you're just being productive in a different department. And yeah, it kind of helped. Hey guys, sorry, my camera overheated, so I had to take a short break, but I hope the quality is still the same. And yeah, let's just keep moving. So I was talking about symptoms. The next symptom that I noticed was that my boobs became very tender, and they actually started growing already. So boobs was something that was very obvious because I was like, what is happening, right? And when you say boobs are tender, sorry, I'm like pushing around. When you're saying boobs are tender, it's really that they just feel sensitive, like you touch them in like some areas, and my brain went to, oh my God, do I need to get like a cancer checkup? But then I was like, oh no, I'm pregnant. That's why they feel so weird. So that was another symptom. And then, I forgot about this, sleep insomnia. So I had like for a week, 2 weeks, I would always wake up between the hours of 4 to 6 a.m. Super weird, because I'm a good sleeper. If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's like I sleep, okay? I love my sleep. So for me to be awake, wide awake, not being able to fall back asleep, that was just so odd. And my sister was like, that is pretty much already your child telling you when it's gonna be awake for the rest of your pregnancy. And I was like, no. But it did that more for 2 weeks or so. I want to say week 11, 12, whatever. And now it has slowed down again. So now I sleep through the night pretty much. And maybe once a week we'll wake up in the middle of the night. But that's pretty much it. Okay, those were my symptoms. Please let me know in the comments down below were those symptoms you had as well when you were pregnant. Are those symptoms you may be experiencing right now? And if you have any tips, let the girls know in the comments, because like I said, my first trimester, I was in shambles, and any tip, any advice really helps. Next, food aversions / cravings. I actually had more aversions than I had cravings, but the aversions were heartbreaking. The craziest food aversion that I had was, and that wasn't even food, that's a drink, water. Tell me why every single time I would drink a drop of water, literally it would feel like I am imploding an atomic bomb in my stomach. The moment the water would touch my stomach, I kid you not, everything that I ate that evening, that afternoon, that morning would come back out. Crazy. And also that metallic taste in my mouth made it worse because it just made water taste so weird. So I always had to like infuse water with ginger or lemon, or have it super ice cold, but it was just disgusting. I'm glad that now I'm back to drinking water. I'm glad back to craving water, but first trimester water was a pain. Next thing was fries. I love fries, but for like multiple weeks, fries would make me vomit. It was so sad because, believe me you, I love fries, so I would still go eat them. I would go to McDonald's, eat my fries, and then get home and throw it all up. Or I go somewhere else, eat fries, because I can't say no. When I see fries, I just want them. Especially like, you know, like freshly fried fries. Like there's nothing better than that. So fries, water, probably the worst. Then another thing was that smell. I couldn't smell or eat fish. And I still can't stand the smell of fish. And my mom, we're Congolese in this family. So my mom, she makes a lot of fish, like at least twice a week. And every time she does, I'm like, girl, why? So the door to my room is constantly closed. And I try not to go into the kitchen or the living room when she's cooking fish. Other than that, honestly, I find it weird to even call this cravings because those are things that I eat anyways, but I definitely can say that I craved red meat a lot. In my first trimester, I could not eat other meats other than red meat. And not just, I don't know, it was like crazy. It was like I needed steak, I needed burger, I needed ground beef, like proper red meat. So I needed to have that a lot with every meal, ideally. Eggs, every morning I had to have eggs. Ideally fried eggs, ideally an omelette, something like that. Then pizza. I could have pizza every single day for a week and not mind it, because pizza was also the only thing that I ate that wouldn't come back out. So every day that I was feeling really down, really sad, I would opt for pizza because I was like, I just want to eat something that is not going to come back up and it's not going to make me sad. Pasta, but not every pasta, mostly pasta with red meat. So mostly pasta bolognese, pasta with meat sauce, pasta with like, you know, chicken sometimes, but pasta. And then fruits. I think fruits is pretty much what everybody loves. And honestly, I'm still loving fruits now. They are a great snack. And for me, they're also important because I do not take the prenatals. So I need a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies. Even though in the beginning, I couldn't eat as many veggies. So now that I can again, I try to incorporate them more in my meals. And yeah, those were my food aversions and food cravings. And I'm just so happy that the first trimester is through. And now I'm in my second trimester. Like I said, 17 weeks tomorrow. So I'll definitely make a video about second trimester recap. What are my parting words? I'm pregnant. It is hella weird. It is hella weird. But if you want to know about how I prepared to be pregnant, what are some of the things that I noticed as a 35, 36-year-old pregnant woman, please let me know in the comments down below, because I do feel like we go through a lot of very specific emotions that maybe younger or maybe even older women do not go through. And I would love to share it if somebody wants to hear that story. If not, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I will be posting way more on there, way more consistently. And yeah, I'm excited to be on this journey, and I see you guys in my next video. Until then, love and light.